Good evening. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm your host, Matt. I'm joined by my regular co-hosts on our post-match reaction show, Ashley, Chris, and Kev. And we are here to discuss the 1-1 draw at the City Ground that we've just witnessed today that leaves Liverpool still top of the table and puts Nottingham Forest up, shouldn't be surprising, but surprisingly into second place. Ashley, how do you like the game?
Sorry, there's a little bit of interference, and I don't know whose mic it's coming from. How did I like the game? I think if I was just going off the first half, I'd say that was a deserved result. I think that, we fought and we kind of did okay. The second half, I really thought we stepped it up, and I really thought we deserved the win there. I thought we played so much better the second half, and I thought that Forest defended for their lives, and their keeper was really good. I'll take the point, and we'll move on, and we'll stay at the top of the table, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's David Wright saying that's 2 points dropped. How about for you, Kev? Is that a good point gain? 2 points dropped?
If you were asking me at kickoff, I'd say it's 2 points dropped. Ask me at halftime, it's a point gained. Look, got to give the devil their due. You could tell why they went nearly 7.5 hours without conceding a goal. They're really, really good at what they do. They're very one-dimensional. Men behind the ball, defend for your life, stay in your shape, hit sides on the counter. They're excellent at it. Very Leicester-like when Leicester went and won the league. It's very similar to their idea of playing. Really tough to break it down. How we were poor in the first half, almost devoid of ideas at times, frustrated. Second half was better. The changes were good. Unlucky at the end not to win it. Unbelievable clearances off the line and blocks and last ditch efforts and tackles and keeper saves and what have you. But look, they are the top two sides in the league at the minute, and there's nothing to split them tonight. What can you do? You take your point and you move on.
Yeah,
no point in bitching about it. It's done.
Well, we've got to fill an hour, Kev. So I mean, we might do some bitching.
Plenty to bitch about in the first 45.
The chat is quite divided, I would say, in terms of the outlook on the 1 point from that game. Where do you sit?
2 points dropped, and it's self-inflicted. This is now Fulham, Newcastle, Man United, and this game where we've started like shite in the first half, gave ourselves a mountain to climb. You can't keep doing it. Eventually, it'll catch you out. Keep played well. Look, Liverpool had enough chance second half to win it, but we keep putting ourselves in a chasing position. And we saw last year, if you keep putting yourself in a chase position, it will catch up with you eventually. So I think we've got to go back to being a bit smarter and not gifting the ball in dangerous areas, which is what we kept doing. And I thought in general tonight, the passing was atrocious. And I think that's what killed a lot of our attacks, because we were either too slow with the pass or every pass was overhit. We only woke up with the two subs, which is, we'll come to the subs. It's the most inspired sub you'll see from a manager. But yeah, I'm a bit deflated with it. Second half's a better performance. If they can play more games like the second half, cool. But that first half performance, now we've seen that now a bit too many times now, probably since the City game. So we need to find a way of kicking that in, and that's for the manager to work out.
Yeah, yes, it is. Jerry 10 saying slow starts, conceding first the last 6 weeks is derailing the season. I mean, if that's what
that's one fucking game. Let's get it into a bit of perspective here. We've had 5 draws and 1 loss. All right, cool your fucking jets a small bit. All right, we're 6 points. We're 6 points ahead of Forest with the game in hand. Relax. All right,
but I think
that was the 2 top sides in the country at the minute.
Yeah,
we had 9 shots in the first half, and not one of them on target. Couldn't figure it out. Frustrated beyond belief.
Yeah, but
all right. But at the end of the day, we didn't fucking lose it. We gave up 1 chance in the first half. We didn't really give up any chances in the second half to speak of.
That's Forest's game plan. But also, it's not this game. It's the fact we've done the same in Fulham at home, where we gifted a goal and gifted a red card. Man United at home, we were horrendous. You've had opportunities to probably increase the gap and make things more comfortable for yourself.
It's as comfortable as it fucking gets in a season. Come on.
Yeah, but You've got more difficult games than this to come up, I would say.
I don't think we do. I don't think we're going to play a side as good defensively as that this season, because they have no interest in coming out and playing.
Yeah, but but you can't keep gifting them. Not Forest today, but in general, we can't keep gifting it. Eventually,
they had one chance. They had one chance. Every side in the Premier League is going to make a chance. They took it. That was it. Honestly, I mean, they're very good at what they do. We're terrified of turning around and saying, "Yeah, do you know what? Forest defended brilliantly. Well played."
Who's terrified?
No, in general, we as football fans, we're terrible at turning around and saying, "Do you know what? For that first half, Forest frustrated the fucking life out of us, and we couldn't figure it out." They did really well. Instead, it's like we were shit. The overhead passes. We did. It's a blame game. But it's a blame game caused by the way they approach the game, isn't it?
Both things can be true.
But they are true. But we never give the credit where it's due. We're always slamming ourselves for not going in 2-3-0 at halftime and starting brilliantly.
No one's saying go 2-3-0 at halftime, but I think it's fair to say the way we didn't control the ball and the way our passing was atrocious.
Control the ball.
Played into their hands. And to be honest, for Forest, that's what they want, and that's what they're brilliant at. I actually think
we had 70% of the ball in the first half. We controlled the ball. It's just that when we did control the ball, we couldn't get in past their final third. We were really good at holding the ball in the middle 2/3 of the pitch, but we couldn't go around the back. We never had a plan to go around it. You can blame the manager, definitely, because tactics he sent them out with in the first half. How many times did you see Gakpo in the first half ignore Robertson's run around go around the back? I counted at least 4, and he constantly did it. Diaz was good at dropping off, but if you're going to look for crosses, you have to have someone in the middle as well, and there was no one there. I get we created our own problems, but at the same time, it was a game of two halves. It's not the doom and gloom. Honestly, I'm looking at that and thinking, do you know what? Any other time, if we were going to the Etihad and playing Man City and coming away with a 1-1 draw, being first and second in the league, you're all right with it. It's a mental thing with people that because it's Nottingham Forest, it's doom and gloom.
It's nothing to do with who it is. I'm disappointed with the performance in the first half, and I've seen that performance now 4 games running. So that's why I'm disappointed. It's becoming a pattern, and it's a pattern that the manager needs to stop. Do I think he will? Yeah, I think he will. I think this is a little bit of the dip we're in, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine to say I think that performance first half was disappointing and played a big factor in us not getting 3 points today. I'm not dismissing what Forest did, because Forest play the way they do, which is they don't want the ball. They don't give you much space to move it. They keep it compact. But one way of keeping it compact is, like you said, look for passes in behind or look to quicken it up. Because when Jota came on, the pace of the game really took up a level and they got stuck with it there. But that's how I see it. People don't agree. That's fine. That's just how I see it.
Well, I just got to say, I'm happy I came to Ashley first, or else you would have been sitting there for a long time. Just the tires getting all cold. I agree with parts of what both of the fellas have to say. I'm sure you do as well, Ashley. I mean, just in broad strokes, like we had a really good discussion, the 4 of us at halftime, and I came out of the first half siding with Kev's side of the argument. Like, I thought Nottingham Forest were almost perfect in the first half against us. They had one chance. They were 100% lethal with that chance, and they did not put a foot wrong. They did not play a poor ball out of the back. They had a game plan, and they absolutely nailed it. So, I don't know if you were on this, one of the extremes of the fuming end of the scale at halftime or not.
I think 2 things can be correct at the same time. I think Forest can play really, really well, and we cannot capitalize, because I genuinely think that our first half was much sloppier than our second half. I think first half, we did struggle to string our passes together. And whether that's because Forest were really good at their job or not, it was still a fact that we struggled to get those passes. We didn't have a single shot on target for that entire first half. There were players that were basically anonymous that a bunch of us were talking about at halftime saying, pull them off. They're doing nothing. And, it's interesting because the players that we thought were doing nothing in the first half actually never got pulled. Because we were talking about Szoboszlai and Gakpo. And, fair is fair. They did step up in the second half. I think, I do think that we've gotten into this habit of slow starts. And I think, I understand the argument that, Slot likes to keep control and kind of keep it calm for a little while. And then he adjusts things at halftime. And then he really goes for the 1-2 punch in the second half. But I do think that we are almost giving ourselves a handicap by not playing just a little bit more aggressively in the first half. I would have liked to have seen more from us. I think that we, and maybe it's because Forest retired the second half, and maybe that was part of the plan all along. But I don't think I left that first half saying that we played to the best of our abilities.
No, I don't think that's anybody could make that assumption at all. I wasn't quite as apoplectic with it as some of the stuff that you can see, and reasonably so, in response to a half where you go down to a goal after 7.5 minutes or whatever it was. And I mean, on their goal, Kev, I mean, that is counterattacking football at its absolute finest. I mean, I was a little disappointed in the effort put in by Mo Salah. I know Ibu Konate doesn't really cover himself in glory with the header, but you have to give credit where credit's due. If that's the chance that you're provided, that's how you take that chance.
It was a brilliant pass into a striker who made the space himself. When you see the angle from behind the goal, Virgil's sat in the middle between the two. If he goes to Woods, it leaves, I think was it Hudson-Odoi with a clear run at goal. If he goes to Hudson-Odoi, he just slides him in and makes the chance easier. I think he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, couldn't do right from doing wrong. It was a brilliant finish. First time shot into the side netting, took Allison out of it completely. But yeah, I mean, Chris made the point at halftime that Konate could have tried to get a bit more oomph on the header to get it to Salah faster. I think Salah could definitely put his body on the line a bit to protect the ball.
Or get the foul. Or foul him and just go like, we'll go again. That's the frustration.
Even from there, I don't think you're going to sense the danger because you still have enough cover from that position, from where the ball is. It's the pass after he wins the ball takes probably 2 or 3 players out of the equation. And then it was just a really well-timed, well-weighted pass by Hudson-Odoi into Wood, who made the space really well. His movement for that was unbelievable. He just drifted out into the right space at the right time and slotted it perfectly. But I'll just quick look. I mean, look, it's no secret. I got split screens here, right? So I'm looking at the commentary on FootMob for the first half. Right, you guys take notes. I cheat. And it's literally the goal, a highlight of the goal. Murillo takes a shot, and that's it for the first half. There's feedback there from someone. Has someone got a phone close to their mic or something?
Oh, it might be me, sorry. Just messaging. Yeah. Sorry, just messaging someone about being polite in the chat.
Yeah. But
you're only live on YouTube, Chris. Don't worry about it.
That's all right.
But yeah,
I think some people think because they're on YouTube they can say what they want. So I think some people need to.
No, but I think when you're on YouTube, you should put your phone on, mute or airplane mode, so you're not giving feedback.
It is on mute.
there's mods in the chat will take care of anyone who's out of hand. But yeah, I mean, credit they made that. We gifted them the chance, but they took it.
That's done
but to be fair. Yeah, but up until then, they'd done nothing. We had about 3 shots. I mean, they were all shots from outside the box, and I didn't mind that. So I thought, okay, you're going to take shots from outside the box. It's going to force them to put pressure on to get their defenders to come out to our midfielders. You might be able to make space that way, So I didn't mind the shots from outside the box, but it was a sucker punch. It was the perfect time for them, and it couldn't be a worse time for us. Bear in mind, you're going away from home as well. Against a side who are won 6 on the bounce, who are supremely confident, and rightly so. They should be confident in their ability to defend. You know, so going behind to a side like that is the absolute nightmare scenario. I mean, I remember. Do you remember before the match started, Gav put a comment into our group, and he said, "You just don't give them the ball back," which is fine. I turned around and said, "I give them the ball. I let them make the game, and they don't want to. They're not very good at doing it. You saw it in the second half when they had to try to chase the game a bit. But, you know, we were never going to play that game. We were always going to dominate the ball, and they were always going to play on the counter because that's just the way they do it. But, yeah, that first half was like an abject exhibition of frustration from the players, from us watching it. It was, you were waiting for someone to do something because it was going to take something special to unlock them the way they defended that first half. It was going to take a banger from outside the box or a corner to go right. And nothing like that happened.
The thing that almost did happen, Kev, well teed up, is about 10 minutes before halftime, Trent plays an incredible through ball that puts Diaz in. And Chris, I think he does so well that he just keeps doing what he's doing because he's doing it so well in terms of just kind of holding the ball and dragging it upfield and allowing Gakpo to get up in beside him. And he just waits too long and Murillo gets his foot out. But that was kind of it for clear-cut chances for us with the exception of shots from outside the box.
Yeah, I think the only other chance we had was the Szoboszlai header, which, to be fair to Nico Williams, he gets up well with him. And I don't think he knows he's got the block on it, but, you know, he does well, to be fair. It was quite frustrating with Diaz. I think Kev called it half-time, so he telegraphed it too much. It was obvious where it was going to go. I think he just needed to he needs to be a little decisive with his what he wanted to do. Either get it to Szoboszlai a little bit earlier, or take it on yourself, you know, and trust you, back yourself. But yeah, we just didn't create anything. You know, we were trying shots from distance, which must be a tactic they've seen. So, you know, try. But yeah, look, all in all, we'll have conversations outside. I was pretty frustrated. I just thought I made my frustrations because of the previous 2 or 3 performances haven't been great, and it just felt like a bit of a continuation. So it may have been some of my frustrations more an accumulation of, well, the last 2 or 3 games have been a bit annoying, and this just felt like more of the same, you know. And I'll be honest, I don't think it really picked up until the subs. I think once the subs came on, I think then things livened up. But before the subs came on, I don't think we did much.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley, we got to talk about somebody else who did not do much throughout the entire game. But I can tell you what everybody that's listening to this can do for us, and that would be to click on the GoFundMe link in the description of the show, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast after the fact, and help us out trying to raise our money for our 2 wonderful charities, fan supporting food banks in Liverpool, the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin. We're going to keep on with this. So if you can help us out with that, please do. But one of the things that I noticed throughout the game, Ashley, was Chris Kavanagh.
You don't even have to say anything else.
I mean,
you can just say his name. He was awful. Like
every time the camera would cut to him, he just looked like he was like acting as if he was a piece of celery or something like that. Like he seemed like he had no idea how he ended up where he was. Like he had just Doctor Who'd into that person's body somehow. He let everything go in that.
Yeah, pretty much everything. I mean, in fairness, he set a precedent and he stuck with it throughout the game. And he didn't give a ton either way. But there were so many fouls that were just clear fouls. I mean, there was one where like Salah went shoulder to shoulder at the beginning of the game and got called up for a foul. And then like halfway through the game, there was literally an identical situation.
Murillo just cleans Diaz out.
Cleaned him out and we got nothing. And I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? Like genuinely, what the hell is happening? I don't know. He was like a potted plant. He basically didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was, and that was, I'll stay with you on this, Ashley, because the person I thought struggled the most in the first half and very much surprised me in the second half was Dominic Szoboszlai. And I felt like how much Kavanagh was letting go, especially in the midfield. Like you don't need to watch a ton of Nottingham Forest games to realize that Ryan Yates is a bastard And I thought Elliot Anderson played excellently today. Like, he put in a very, very good performance in that midfield. But they were bullying Dominic Szoboszlai, and it seemed like it got inside his head because he was terrible in the first half, and he was being kind of bossed around by the two Notts Forest midfielders.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think Yates does what he's there to do, which is just break up play and be that asshole that, you know, every team needs an asshole. Every team has one. I'm not going to say one. I'm not going to say it. Every team needs an asshole. And I think he's very good at that. Like, he gets on our nerves, and he probably gets on our players' nerves at the same time. And I think he got away with about 60 minutes without getting a yellow card, and probably deserved it way earlier than that. But yeah, I'm not going to take the bait there.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Moving on.
Yes. Kev, I mean, let's just come right on to it. I said it to you. You were a little bit behind, so I'm sorry if we spoiled the goal for you. But that might be the single most impactful pair of substitutions any manager has ever made, ever. Because Tsimikas comes on and Jota come on. My comp said they were on the pitch for 22 seconds, and they combined to level the match. Oh, Kev's gone muty.
I went mute. Yeah, 2 seconds of ball in play. I mean, look, the first thing Costas did is he put in a good corner. Because up until then, the set pieces were meat and drink for Forest to deal with. They were either hitting the front man, or credit to their two centre-backs, they were clearing them. Yeah, it was a really, really good delivery. Right into the 6-yard box, and right over Milinkovic's head as well. And Jota, right place, right time. Perfect. You had that kind of sense that the way the game was going, it was probably going to be a set piece. But I didn't have any hope that it would be a set piece because of how bad the delivery was throughout the whole game. And credit to Costas, because as good as Jota is to be in the right place at the right time, for me, that's all about the delivery. The delivery on that set piece was perfect.
Perfect delivery.
To clear out the two centre-backs and keep it away enough for the keeper and still be that close. Yeah, that delivery was unbelievable. You know, credit where it's due. I think I was calling for the subs to be a bit earlier because I agree with what you guys were saying. Like, started the first half. Yeah, we were moving it a bit faster, but it was more of the same. We weren't moving them about in their shape because they were quite happy for us to have the ball out wide because we didn't have any aerial threat in the box to do anything. That's why our crosses towards the end of this first half and into the start of the second half were coming in low, you know, because they were sweeping up everything. You know, it was almost a night really where you needed an aerial threat striker to tackle that kind of game, someone to play off, rather than a link-up striker that we went with Diaz. Because, well, Diaz in the first half did all right dropping off into play. He only dropped off into their midfield, and Yates and Anderson dealt with that pretty well. It never shifted the two centre-backs out. They never got enticed to try to follow it. But that goal, it was a case that you were giving yourself enough time. You know, the changes were brilliant. The goal was what we deserved, I think, bearing in mind that we really did force the game. And, you know, you're back in it. It's 1-1, plenty of time to go. What was it? The ball's a half an hour with injury time. The ball's a half an hour to go. You know, you were giving yourself a chance to win it. On the flip side, if you overcommit, you were giving yourself a chance to lose it. Bearing in mind that we'd taken Konate off. But Gravenberch's back to centre-back. It was like, okay, by the way, we're taking your centre-back partner off. Yeah, we've just got level, right? The game is going to change now completely because they're going to come out and play. You know, so you don't have that few minutes to reset yourself, to get used to the substitutions. Like, shit, the whole game plan is just going to change this second. Deal with it. And
we actually did well not to give. We didn't give any corners away the whole game.
No,
which against us had that powerful, and they are good at set pieces. is pretty good, to be honest. That kind of sort of hit that slight deficiency in the sideline because, it's probably not Gravenberch's strength being a centre half, but on the ball, it's what you want him for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was gonna G myself up to try to pronounce his name after a long lesson in the Telegram chat yesterday about Irish pronunciations, but I'm just gonna go with McGlinchey instead. Since he had the same fear with
hang on. It's O'Sheen.
O'Sheen. O'Sheen. Don't know what I'm doing wrong.
O'Sheen. That's it. There you go. O'Sheen.
It's like saying "oh shit," but not quite.
Yeah. But Mr. Sheen is it. O'Sheen. That's the one. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Chinese
there
website.
Was 4 different acceptable phonetic spellings yesterday. Listen, this is different. O'Sheen. That's different. I'm not getting into it. He makes a good point though about having some concerns because you see the board go up, Chris, and Ibu's coming off, and it's like, okay, well, obviously it's going to be Gravenberch dropping back in there. I thought he was excellent. McGlinchey points out the tackle that he made. I have that down at about 78 minutes. He made another one before that too, where he was not so much last man, but it stopped a really dangerous 3v1 or 4v2 situation from developing. Got a couple of little Swiss Army knife defender midfielders in this team, don't we?
Yeah, I mean that's the way around it. Is look for players who are multifunctional. Klopp was very good at looking at multifunctional. I do think Slot likes that to a point. But there are certain players just like sticking it. I mean, the one benefit of playing him at centre back is it does give you that what we used to have with Joel Matip, that drive from midfield. Obviously, it's a bit more silky than Joel Matip, but that also is a way of you sort of like breaking them down. So it's O'Sheen. That's the court process. Basically, Kev, you're saying it wrong.
I'm not saying it wrong. It's O'Sheen.
You've said it three different ways now.
Leave him alone. Go on, say what you were saying.
I've lost my train of thought now. I'm too busy talking about
O'Sheen. Didn't take much to
No, we've already had our ding dong. I'm quite chilled now. I've got out with system now.
Yeah.
It's not a podcast listening to arguments.
It's been a while, to be fair.
No, we're quite good, actually. Anyway. But, I thought he did well. He does give you that driving force from deep, which I think it helped us break their press a little bit and allow us create an overload. But, I mean, Joseph could have had a hat-trick.
Can I just say one thing on what Slot did, actually, was really clever. When we were defending, proper defending, he dropped into centre-back. When we were on the ball and in control of the ball, Robertson and Trent made a back three. Gravenberch went into midfield. And then whatever side the ball was on, that fullback joined into the attack to supplement it. And we went with 2 at the back. It wasn't a case that Gravenberch stayed at the back, was a centre-back and played as a centre-back the entire game. He didn't. He drifted into midfield. Trent went around on the cover, and depending on which side the ball was on and the time of the game, it was very fluid. I think it's definitely something that they've worked on because it's something that he tried to do in the first Forest game, and it didn't quite work.
It worked at Fulham.
Yeah, and they've definitely been working on this as an option to force your way back into a game rather than, your typical type of sub to influence a game. This one, it gives you so much flexibility in the way you can still play depending on the situation of the game. I thought they handled that really, really well, to be fair to them.
Yeah. Ashley, I know you also like to take the notes too. I said after the Accrington game that I'd never taken fewer, and today was back up to a high number because I think after we scored, it was just like chance. And I gave Szoboszlai some credit for improving in the second half, but I have a series of notes here where it's like, you have to do better. And then the one time he does good, a player who I thought did fairly well in the first half and would kick on in the second half, Mo Salah, decided to completely forget where the goal was located in front of the net.
Yeah, it was not his best game. It was not his best game.
Yeah.
It's like his radar was totally off. The number of shots that were just so far ballooned over the crossbar. I've never actually seen him get that volume of shots so awfully wrong. And I know that we touched upon his role in the Forest goal, and I don't think he covered himself in glory there either. Just outside of the one shot that he kind of tried to chip and then Sells saved, I don't think that he really was effective at all today. And I'm actually surprised that Slot didn't sub him. I'm genuinely surprised that. I mean, I know that we have.
He had the one off the line, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I don't know. I mean, with Salah, you never know. You always kind of hope that he stays in the game, and then there's always that moment that he comes up with. But, I think this will be the first time that he hasn't had a goal involvement in quite a few games. I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head, but I imagine it's about 7 or 8 games that, he's gone on a streak with goal involvements every time. And it's a one-off for him. And hopefully it's something that he'll rectify the next game that we go around.
What did you guys think of that? As Madge puts a comment in there, Salah should have had a pen.
I think he got sandwiched.
I don't. I think 3 guys, they just crowded him out. I don't think you can give it.
I think the frustration is that's about as soft as the one Arsenal got against United.
Salah's not getting those penalties. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
That's where the frustration is consistency. If you're not going to give the Salah one sound, but you can't get the one Havertz got in the FA
that
Cup.
was atrocious. That was never a penalty.
Yeah, but they're both the same.
I didn't see it. Didn't watch it.
I mean, that was almost a dive. I mean, there was like an itty bitty bit of contact, so I won't say it's a dive, but it was almost a dive. But yeah, I don't think Salah's ever.
If we exceeded that, there'd be shows in there about referee conspiracies and they're trying to screw us over. So if we're being honest,
I'm okay with that being not a penalty because that's not.
I'll tell you what, if Kavanagh gives it, there's enough contact there. Because
Williams would like to live in that gray area.
I know, but Williams definitely does take his legs, and he is crowded out of it. He is stopped from getting to the ball. I agree. I don't think it's a pen, but it's definitely in the seen him given category.
Yeah, you'll probably see it happen with a different team. It's not going to happen with Liverpool.
No, it's not going to happen.
Arsenal get it tomorrow against Spurs.
Probably.
Shut up.
But yeah, let's not wish for the things to happen.
Well, we don't want to wish for it. They keep getting them quite regularly.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. The last 10 minutes, we threw the kitchen sink at it. And the game did start to open up with the changes that both sides made. I think they were probably, okay, if we get a counter-attack right, great. But at all costs, keep what you have. And we did throw the key. I don't think we went with reckless abandonment because we did keep it up. We protected the point as much as we could. But I think we definitely threw it at it. Some of the blocks, the block that Aina made off the line, that was outstanding. Salah had that one chance that he got right that Sells made the save from. If, normally Salah curls that from further out back in. But yeah, he didn't have his best game. But at the same time,
the best save
credit Nico Williams.
The Gakpo save was incredible.
Yeah, I think Nico Williams had a really good night against him. And
he did.
He's also played for years and years and years in training.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, Nico Williams is comfortable left back, right back, and he's been predominantly being used as a left back this season with Aina on the other side. But it's the fact that he would have played against Salah in training week in, week out. Did you notice with Salah actually in the first half? He was trying to go on his right side a lot more than he ordinarily does. He was trying to use his right foot a lot more than he ordinarily does. Just to try to be doing something different because Nico would have been able to read him pretty well, probably better than most fullbacks can. But yeah, I thought he'd had a really good night.
After leaving, and you always want to see academy players do well. I think he's one of those players. In retrospect, it would have been lovely to have him as squad depth just because of his versatility. I think, he's obviously kicked on and needed to go to a club in order to kick on. Yeah. And, it's one of those hindsight things, but I actually think he's playing really well.
I also think he left the club at the right time. He wasn't ready to be at Liverpool. I think if he's still at Liverpool, there'll be lots of shouts of why is he still here. I think for his own career, I think he's still in the world of good. What he has learned, which is something me and Kev both pointed out, is he's learned to play the back four, Kev, because we always saw him as a wing back, didn't we?
Yeah, he's improved defensively. Look, it helps with the way Forest set up. All right, I mean, at the end of the day, they're not adventurous. They're defenders. Aina gets forward now and again, but their two centre backs with the game in front of them are really, really good. Milinkovic is brilliant in the air, and Murillo gets himself in. He's positionally, he's as good as anyone, But could either of them do the job that we would ask a centre back to do? I don't know. I'd have to see them both playing international football to see if Murillo could do that for Brazil with the way Brazil play, and the same for Milinkovic. Could he do that at international level with a higher line and less protection around him? Because as much of a shithouse as Yates is, I love a player like that. I absolutely love a player like that. Limited ability on the ball, but maximizes his ability, and he's an absolute horse of a player to play against.
Yeah.
Horrible. And you need someone like that in your 11 because
If
with
he
the
was
way
on
the
your
Forest
team,
play,
you'd love him. Like
if
that
if
kind
I
of
was
like,
if I was a Forest fan, I'd be all about him. I would be all about him because what he gives you, the protection he gives you, the shithousery, the everything about him, I would love. I hate to see him in a Liverpool shirt. Hate it.
Ashley, you might be the only person that can save this reference, but he's very Brad Marchand. I don't know how much of a hockey player you are. It's the Bruins, so it's in your backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with him.
He is a fucking prick. You despise him when you
Everyone
play.
wants a player like that, though. Like, if it's your player, you love that player. And like we have, I don't know, like Robertson's a little bit of a prick too in our team. And everyone kind of
Robertson
everyone
is.
else
He's
hates
he's a
Robertson.
massive prick.
So like, and we love him for it. So everyone has to have, that player, and I'm okay with that. Like, I don't necessarily hate him for being that. I think that it's just sort of a necessary cog in the machine.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I think if he didn't play for us, we'd all hate Jota.
Yeah,
because he scores goals, and Jota is a shit.
And he also mocks like the fans and everything in a way that would just get under your nerves.
Jota is definitely one of those people you would hate to play.
Kind of like a Trossard at Arsenal. Like I really dislike Trossard.
Jota's good.
For no particular reason. Yeah, Jota is a better player, but I kind of, I don't know. I dislike Trossard for no reason other than, he's a finisher and he comes on and he like taunts fans. So I don't know. That's it. Maybe it's a out left field shout.
Yeah. Trossard is the before picture in a mattress advertisement.
Is Trossard and Simicast separated at birth?
They've never been seen in the same place twice. Let's put it that.
They are the two sleepiest footballers.
They really are. I mean, Chris, towards the end of the game, like I agree with Kev. Once we scored, and then even when the Jones change happens for Diaz, it really felt like we had all the momentum to go for it. Like Gravenberch makes that one tackle, but other than that, all the momentum was building towards there. And at the end of the day, they gotta put an arm around their goalkeeper and say, well done, because he saves them the points at the end of the day, which, what a change from the first half where he had nothing to do.
Yeah, no, goalkeeper was excellent. Some really good saves. I was pleased when Jones came on because I thought he actually performed better in that 15 minutes than he has done in the previous two games. I thought he got a balance right in terms of cover and getting forward, and he didn't hold the ball as much, so he picked his moments better. So I think that for him will do him a bit of confidence. I did wonder if they might have thrown Elliott on or Chiesa for the last 10 minutes, just to be honest, just for like something a bit different. But I did wonder if he was holding the final sub back for Endo. As in, I thought if we managed to nick ourselves a 2-1, he'd have learned from the Newcastle game and go, right, it's 2-1, Endo, get on. Even if it's just Endo go centre back, Grav go back in front. We're sitting this out now, which is what we didn't do at Newcastle, which maybe that's what the manager is now thinking. I want to keep that one in my back pocket in a tight game that I could throw an Endo on for 5 minutes. Just say, do what Murillo does almost, which is like head it, kick it, put it out the ground. I don't care. So
we made 3 changes and you're spot on. You only had one more block to make another change. So if you did nick it and you wanted to get Endo on, if you'd already made the change to bring on a Chiesa or an Elliott, you couldn't do it. So I mean, you can see probably why he didn't bring on anyone like Elliot on with Jones because you still did only have, Gravenberch as a makeshift centre back. You really only had one out and out defensive mid on the pitch in McAllister. Yeah. So it kind of made sense not to go overboard. You had to protect the point that you had.
The last 10-15, we were creating chances. We were just either very good goalkeeping or pretty poor set pieces.
Jota was so unlucky, wasn't he?
Jota got a hat trick. Another day, Jota has a hat trick. And to be fair, as poor as Salah was, Salah probably should have had two. One's a good save, and the other one is a great block. It's a really good block. So, I think if this was like in isolation, I think you'd have just gone, it is what it is. My frustration is it's now 4 draws in the last 7. So like 4, I think it's 4 wins and 4 draws in the last 8 games. So you have to say this is probably our bit of a blip. I mean, to be fair, this is our bit of a blip. As blips go, that's not the worst to have. I've seen Liverpool go through worse blips than this, where it's like 3 or 4 games losses. So what Liverpool need to do now is
6 home losses.
Remember that? That was horrific. I do podcasts after every single one, and that was awful. I think the next 3 away games, they have to look to get the maximum points, which is Brentford, Bournemouth, and the Everton. I think if you win them 3 and you got a draw, say, I think 10 points out of those 4 away games, I think you're fine. I think anything less than that, you are probably opening the door a bit more to an Arsenal, assuming Arsenal can kick on and maintain the gap. They've got the London derby against a side that fuck knows what they're going to do. And then Villa will be tricky because Villa always are.
Yeah. There's no easy games, I don't think.
No, we've got Brentford who got a 2-2 against City, and they were 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go.
The nice thing is that our rivals are not necessarily capitalizing at the moment.
Yeah.
Chelsea drawing with Bournemouth does us no harm whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw tomorrow with Arsenal.
I'd be happy with that.
I would be okay with that too.
I think my inner fear is every time we've dropped points so far, Arsenal have as well. So you've kind of gone, well, the gap's not really changed, so fine. But you don't want to keep relying on they're always going to drop when we drop. At some point, you want to be able to put a little bit of the foot in the throat and go, let's make the gap 9. How'd you cope with 9? And see, because there's always a point where the gap gets so big, and we've chased City where it gets to a certain number, and you just go, the will goes, and like, there's no way I'm making that gap up. At the moment, you're still getting that little bit of hope, I would say.
The nice thing is that we do have a couple of games with the Champions League squeezed in there where if we can't, I feel like we can get kind of like a running start and get a little bit of rhythm, because I agree with all of you. I think that we haven't been in the best form recently. And I think, whether it's the holidays, whether it's because people have been ill, and I know that there have been several players that have been ill, but the team just hasn't been clicking to the best of their ability. And I'm hoping that, between the balance of the Premier League games and the Champions League games that we can maybe rotate in, that we can maybe get that form back. And we don't have quite the same amount of pressure that some of the other teams around us do.
Yeah. See, I'm going to side with Michael Murphy. We will get our second win, then destroy the field. That's
that. That's
when we win. That's when we win everything, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Look. The one thing I say, right, the next 3 games you listed them off there. Brentford away, always. We big it up that it's a really tough game, but our record there is decent. Bournemouth, they're in really good form. They can be a tricky tie, but we know that they'll come out and play.
I think
will Brentford.
I think we're helped by the fact that Bournemouth have got no strikers now. It's a makeshift strike force, which I think helps.
But the other one is we don't know what Everton are going to be like. But like you said, the fact that we'll be getting back into a rhythm of playing every 3-4 days, I think that will help us massively. I don't think we've been helped by the fact that it's been League Cup, League, FA Cup, different 11s, all the way through. Massive rotation. I think Slot would like to get back into, it's Premier League, Europe, Premier League. And
I think he rotates for Europe.
Forget it. Yeah, I don't think he's too...
And he rotates for the FA Cup.
Yeah, I don't think he's too fussed about the domestic cups, and rightly so. You shouldn't be that overly concerned.
I think he'll go strong for the second leg.
Yeah, but you take to get... you take the games in isolation for what they are. You know, you try to win the game, do the best you can with it, but the main focus has to be rhythm into the league. You know, you keep rhythm and momentum in players' legs who need it. And I think a key one for that, I think, in my opinion anyway, is Mo Salah. I think Mo Salah is the kind of guy who's always been this way. He's like a wind-up toy. You know, you just wind it up to the last and you let him go. And just when it's getting to the nth degree, you take him out and then you wind him back up again. You let him go again for another 6-7 games. You know, and that's when he finds his rhythm and that's when he's at his best.
I like that. See, that we're getting some more positivity out of it. We had a little bit of contentiousness at the start of the show. People were taking sides, their team Chris, their team Kev, and now everybody's starting to still see people the mouse. We are undefeated away. Sam Tandy, another thing compared to this time last season, we have a near enough fully fit squad. Our bench made the difference today, and that wins us the title, in my opinion.
We're still up at the same time. Same time last year, we're 2 points ahead, or on the same fixtures, but I think we're a point better off. So we are about where we were last year, but like you said, we are more relaxed. Mitch's team Ashley, that's fair enough. No one's team Matt though. I'm just saying.
No, that's fine. I don't want anybody on my team. I don't want to be a member of any club that would have me as a member, as the old saying goes. Ashley, who would you like as your player of the game, honorable mention, and should improve?
I think the player of the game is Jota. I think he changed the game. I think if you look at even just the state of play, the minute that Jota comes on, the whole game opens up. I think that he created more in maybe the first 5 minutes that he was on than most of our offensive players. So I think that I would give him the man of the match. I think, you know, obviously when you get a goal, that helps. Honorable mention goes to Gravenberch because, you know, if you can play both of those positions at that level, I think that's outstanding. And I think, you know, the more Swiss Army knives, the better. I would appreciate if we didn't have to use them. You know, I know that in this situation, Konate did come out pre-game saying that he didn't feel 100% back to fitness. So
he kept that to himself, to be honest.
I mean, he did say that, like, you know, he was fine. He's just, you know, he was a little bit rushed back after Gomez. So I understand why that move was made. But yeah, I think he did really well. Could do better. I'm going to give to Salah because I don't think he was on it today. I think that, you know, he could have been a lot more aggressive in the first goal. And I think, you know, we can't expect him to score every game, but I think that he was in enough positions today to do more damage than he did.
Kev, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Jota, but look, let's be honest about it. Man of the match, TNT gave it to Murillo, rightly so. I'd have
given it to Matt. I'd have given it to the keeper.
I would have given it to Sells if you could pick a different.
I think Murillo genuinely that's one of the best centre back displays I've seen against us.
It was a record. The number of clearances he made was a record for a Premier League game. It was 18 clearances.
He had the game of his life, you know. But yeah, look, for us, Jota made the difference when he came on. The chances he created for him, you know, that he got, and forced saves out of the keeper, and that in itself forced panic. I think honourable mention, tough one. I mean, look, I still think Virgil couldn't do anything much about the goal. Other than that, defensively, he was solid.
He's taking the fucking choice.
We did. That's all right. Ashley took mine.
Sorry.
So, look, I think
it
you got to be
when
honest.
You go last, doesn't it?
I go fucking last. What are you talking about?
No one cares what you say.
Virgil had a good game. Could do better. I thought Lucho was poor. I think, look,
he played in midfield for 90% of that game.
Yeah, it worked. It worked now and again when he was able to drop and link. But yeah, if you're going to be getting the ball wide to look to put crosses in, and you're playing as a striker, you have to be there. You know, you have to occupy the centre backs, and he didn't. You know, that's the downside of playing that false nine role. Is sometimes you have to be the 9. You can't be the false bit all the time. You have to be the 9 as well. And look, but it's a learning progress, a learning stage for him as well in this role. He's going to get better at doing it. But yeah, I just didn't think he had his best night.
Okay, Chris, take the final of the low-hanging fruit. Go right ahead.
I've got nothing. They've all gone. No, the correct answer for Liverpool is Jota. Honourable mention, I was going to say Virgil, but you've took that, and Gravenberch's been taken. So
you don't have to take somebody different. We can have a consensus here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Virgil because I was possibly a bit harsh with him on the goal, but he did some of the old Virgil things where he almost like jogs alongside the striker and just says, that's my ball, thanks very much, away with you. And there was that calmness around it. And to be honest, that's a game he's done really well with a makeshift back four and done well. I think Trent slowly improve. I think it's another improvement from the United game, which I think he's needed now. He's now backed it up with 3 games, so that's good. Could do better. I thought the left side, Gakpo and Robbo, I just thought both were pretty ineffective. Robbo was just quiet. I mean, his set pieces were dreadful. But to be honest, I don't think anyone's was good. And Gakpo, apart from that shot,
so bad.
Apart from his shot, which produces a really good save to keep it, I thought in general he was just really anonymous. Just one of those. And to us, we haven't had too many from that year with Gakpo, but we had a few from last year. But he just wasn't a game. I was surprised he stayed on. I thought he might have been one. I thought he might have got off and they might have left Diaz on just to give him a bit of pace out wide, but maybe they wanted him for his physicality. So, but I don't think he was. I can't say anyone was particularly dreadful. Just below par.
Aina had a really good game against them as well. To be fair, Forest fullbacks did well against our winners.
He has a great long throw,
and he's
dangerous long throw.
He's only got 6 months left on his contract as well.
Yeah, 28 years of age. I thought he was younger than that. He's 28.
Yeah, so did I actually. I can see some clubs looking at him though.
Yeah, definitely.
Good player.
That's gotta remember going back. I don't know, when was Forest's first season in the Premier League? 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
and then
they were fighting for their life until the last day last year.
But I mean, that first season they came up, I think it was before you were doing shows with this, Ashley, but I can distinctly remember doing shows and being like, what the hell are these guys doing with the transfer policy? They bought another 7 players this week. And
that's when the whole squad was on loan, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, they came up with an on-loan squad from the championship and they had to buy
which beat us 1-0.
Yeah, 28 new players or something like that. Turns out there's some method to their madness. I would probably give man of the match to Gravenberch. He played the full 90. So, yeah, Jota comes on and makes a bit of a difference, but I like what Gravenberch was doing. I would give an honorable mention to Curtis Jones, actually. I feel like in retrospect, it might have been a better game to start Jones over Szoboszlai. Just that the stick that people try to beat Curtis Jones with, that he holds onto the ball for too long, I think kind of worked against how Forest were set up against us, where he seems to kind of draw a player out to try to take the ball off of them, and then he can beat them 1v1 and open up some odd man numbers that way. And must improve is Dominic Salah, because first half Szoboszlai and second half Salah, you put them together and it's
I was literally going to double take. I was like, what?
And that's a 2 out of 10.
So that's what Richard Hughes was doing.
I think Mo Szoboszlai was fine. But yeah, Dominic Salah was quite poor.
Is he going to be on a podcast with us really anytime soon?
Yes.
You need to become a member to see those ones, though.
Yeah.
There's the chat. Ashley was.
Can I give an honorable mention to someone that we're not going to give credit to, and we don't normally give credit to, but the chant from the Forest fans, the Cranberry Zombie rendition of "We're in Your Head, Arne Slot." That was fantastic. Like, if you haven't heard it and you just go back and listen to one of their one of their, songs, it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Their fans were dynamite the whole match. Like, they could feel aggrieved after the performance they put in that first half that they didn't come out with all 3 points, that they couldn't repeat that performance in the second half and get it over the line. The fans inside the City Ground did absolutely fantastic, cheering Notts Forest on.
I did like the "We're in Your Head" shout as well.
It was great.
Arne Slot, "We're in Your Head." Fantastic.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, right. They had 2. The other one as well.
Not paying any attention.
I didn't realize it was zombie, actually, to be fair.
It's okay. You can steal my little,
thunder
thing.
You stole my
That's
team.
a great point, Chris. That's a really good point that you made.
Well, Chris Wood.
Anyways, here's some quotes. Chris Wood, it feels a bit more like a defeat the way we conceded. They're a good side. They showed it all season. Diogo Jota, I said to him, Costas, let's go down and recreate your assist cup games a few years ago. Go down and take the corner. He continues, I'm not happy. We should have won. And Ashley with the bad news stats here. Alisson has faced 15 shots on target in the Premier League since his return from injury, and he's conceded 9 of them. That is
not great.
Yeah, no, way to take some of the sheen off of it. Arne Slot says, I couldn't ask for more. Second half outstanding. Not many teams can create chances against a team that are so strong defensively. I was so happy with the second half performance. It was one chance after the other. There was a moment when they went to the floor. There wasn't a head injury. The referee blew his whistle. There wasn't even treatment. That's not why we drew. I did circle that one out. What the fuck was that? Just
trying to get Trent sent off is what that was.
Just Kavanaugh. Arne Slot says, we were definitely better than the last time we faced Forest. That wasn't difficult, though. See, market improvements. So the next time we play them will be a victory. Matt Sells, in the first half, I didn't have a lot of work.
We had no fucking work.
Yeah. No.
Arne Slot on his substitutions. You need to be a bit lucky. Ibu, we took Ibu out, who's a threat on set pieces. We know Diogo can score a goal. Costas can cross. First half, we were organized, said Nino Espiritu Santo. We didn't allow too many situations. The second half was like ping pong, which is why I felt like we were going to get back into it. We had that one already. And then, oh dear, heaven forbid we get through a January show without a quote about transfers. Arne Slot says, you saw today I can impact the game with subs I have on the bench. Not for the first time this season. These players have helped us. I told them at halftime not to get frustrated. So that's just a stock standard manager standing behind his squad and not ruffling too many feathers. Right, Kev?
John Henry.
Yeah, you don't expect, I mean, look, you don't expect a manager to come out when you're top of the table by a comfortable margin to throw any of his squad under the bus. You know, there's 23 international players in that squad that have all done a really good job for him this season. You know, we're not on where we are in the table by accident. Everyone has contributed to it, and you know that there's more to come from some players. So fairly relaxed about all of that. But until the window closes, it's just a situation that all managers are going to have to deal with whenever a microphone is thrust in their face. Even ex-managers get asked about it, you know. It's
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just a game. The media need someone to talk about it. They got to fill their hours, and the managers have got no choice but to deal with the questions when they're put to them. They're not going to tell anybody anything. Even if there is something going on in the background, they're not going to say it. So it's like anything. People can believe or choose to believe whatever they want to and create whatever narratives they want to. They're not going to get any information directly from the club. And I'd say that's the case for most clubs. Unless there's someone out there selling a big player, they're not going to talk it up. You know, it's just one of those things. You're going to get radio silence for a lot of this from now on.
Yeah, and Chris Mark Anthony of Mark Anthony and Cleopatra fame said earlier, it will be a good point today if the Gunners lose against the Spuds. I was thinking that as the game was wrapping up. I mean, I was still hoping we were going to nick a winner at the very, very end, but it could be a perfect Arsenal weekend for them with all of their title rivals dropping points. Like, there's now a lot of pressure on Arsenal to go out and get a result tomorrow, and I think that pressure plays perfectly into Spurs' hands.
You're going to go through a season where you're not going to win every game, you know. But I think in games like that, if you've got a point going into the 90th minute, you know, you have to keep it. You have to keep it at all costs. You know, whatever happened about today, it wasn't a great first half. Went a lot better in the second half. It was vital that we got something out of it. You know, had to get something out of it.
Arsenal still have to go there. They go there on February 25th.
That's what I mean. This season isn't won or lost in one weekend.
And they've got City in what, 4 games time. You know, despite what you think about City, they've still got players that can hurt Arsenal, and there is a hoodoo that they have. And I think the big blow for Arsenal is, whether you rate them or not, they've lost Jesus for the season. Yeah. They've got no Saka. They've got no Saka now until March. So that is stretching their attack, you know. So
the talk is, and look, this might happen, this might not happen.
They're looking for a loan.
But it looks like Juventus have done the deal for Kolo Muani to go on loan. No option, no obligation, no nothing. It's a straight loan. and there's a possibility that Arsenal might try to sign Vlahovic, either on loan with an option or on loan with an obligation.
The same
Or-
Vlahovic that did nothing at West Ham?
No.
No,
Vlahovic,
good
Juventus was
Right.
the good one. Vlahovic
Just
at
like-
Juventus is the one that 2 or 3 years ago
Everyone
was
wanted him.
everyone
that's-
wanted him.
I think Arsenal tried to get him, and it was
Yeah.
like a ridiculous. It was like
Look,
19
I
million
don't
fee
know.
for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I just think Arsenal have to sign a striker, irrespective. That I mean, you don't wish injury on anyone, but that
No.
one that Gabby Jesus has picked up looks like he could keep him out of the game for a year.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to have surgery, and it's a year out. You know, and
It's a
whatever
really
we
sick
do,
injury is what it is. It's
Yeah.
awful.
it's a horrific injury. But if Arsenal are going to mount any sort of title challenge, they need a more of a goal threat than Saka. You know, they have to have more.
Well, they haven't got. I mean,
And
they
'cause-
haven't got that until March,
Yeah.
have they? So
And the thing is, consistently, I don't think they have that throughout
Their
their
fans
squad.
are turning on Havertz too.
Look, apparently the abuse he suffered after the cup
Awful.
game
His
was
family is
horrific.
getting all sorts of threats and things, which is I don't know. You
It's
don't
not
wish
good. It's
that on
not
anyone.
right.
Nope.
No, it's not right.
no, and then they'll kick off then when he goes like, "How come he's not trying for us?" I'm not fucking surprised.
Yeah. Well, look, before we go, there is some other transfer gossip going around. There's nothing concerning us really.
Oh,
Chelsea apparently wants
But-
65 million for Christopher Nkunku, 27 now. Bayern Munich are heavily interested in him, and Chelsea are interested in Matthias Tell going the other way. Not in a swap deal or anything like that. 2 separate deals apparently. Arsenal in advanced talks with Sociedad for Martin Zubimendi,
for the summer.
£51 million summer deal. Yeah, good luck with getting him on the plane.
Interesting.
Um,
Reports coming out of Spain have said he's sick of talking about transfers to England. He doesn't want to talk about anything until the summer.
Yeah.
So somebody's jumping the gun somewhere.
Yeah, well, apparently reports in Spain are saying Marcus Rashford would prefer a move to Barcelona ahead of other options this month should the forward leave to Manchester United. I bet
Pull
he
the
fucking would.
lever.
Sure he would, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
because
Bar-
I
Bar-
think
What lever?
Yeah.
What lever do they have left?
yeah.
Honestly.
Well, the thing is, and it's for some of the came up out of Barcelona today from Juan Laporta. Apparently, Barcelona are back in this situation now where they're they're back into the one in, one out, and they've let it be known that Ansu Fati is not going to work out at Barcelona. So if they could sell him in the summer, they could make way in the squad for a Marcus Rashford type player on loan with an option, because that's how they'll do it. It'll be a loan with an option. It suits Manchester United to get him out playing and try to improve his form and improve his value that way. But for the life of me, I do not see Marcus Rashford getting anywhere, not even remotely close. You know, he's just not good enough. But
I thought he'd go to Italy because I thought a few Italian clubs would have had him.
whoa, this is a new one. Argentina forward Leo Messi could rejoin Barcelona on loan during the MLS offseason once he signs a new contract with Inter Miami. We used to see that a lot back in the day.
Well,
with,
there's your Ballon d'Or winner
That's
wrapped up in for
ridiculous.
next
Yeah.
season. Just
Loophole.
call it now.
we used to see that an awful lot with Robbie Keane. When Robbie Keane was out in LA, he used to come back and sign on loan for someone.
Play for Villa. He did Villa
Yeah.
at one point.
Doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, but
Beckham did that quite a bit as well, didn't he?
Beckham
He got
did it a bit.
he did PSG, he did AC Milan twice, didn't he?
Yeah. Look, I don't believe this for a second. Liverpool rejected 70 million bid from Saudi. It's been rubbish to death.
Did it fucking drove him?
Darwin Núñez. Yeah. The Saudis end, that's stupid.
Honestly, I like Darwin, but for 70 million, we'd all chipped in.
Yeah.
Go on. Darwin is lovely.
I'd have flown over and driven him to the airport myself, no bother. West Ham interested in Portugal striker Andre Silva on loan from RB Leipzig, which is interesting because RB Leipzig had a deal fall through for AC Milan player Okafor. Apparently, he failed his medical and he's now out for a month. So I don't think but it looks like RB Leipzig are looking for a forward. Villa have rejected a bid in the region of 40 million from West Ham for 21-year-old Colombian striker Duran.
Why would they sell
But,
them?
eh?
Why would Villa even dream of selling them?
Because they've literally they've spent,
Just
they
brought
brought
him
in,
up.
they've confirmed Daniel Mallon to come in.
Oh, okay.
So,
I assumed he was
Unless-
going to replace someone like a Bailey or something like that.
no, but yeah, I think he will. I think he'll play it up down the wing, but I can't see Duran going to a West Ham, not in this window. But yeah, look, it's going
West Ham need him. I've just checked the table, and West Ham
Yes.
United are above Manchester United as it currently stands.
Yeah,
West Ham
Harry
United
Potter or
Have no
don't have
striker.
West Ham don't have a striker.
Both strikers are out, aren't they, for a long time?
Yeah, yeah.
So go
the
full
West Ham.
Pep Barcelona 2010. Just 9 midfielders, no striker. If anybody can do it, it's Graham Potter.
Danny Ings will be their savior. They'll be
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
He's still
The
there.
only other stuff that's out there linked with us is Liverpool are keen on Nuremberg striker Stefano Timmitz, with the 19-year-old Greek potentially available for around £20 million. Is also attracting interest from Chelsea, Brighton, and Aston Villa, and that's coming from Sky in Germany. I don't see that. There is talk that West Ham could be in for the striker from Feyenoord, Santiago
Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Nunez, wasn't he in goal?
Yeah, he played for Newcastle, didn't he? He went to Madrid. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I hate that film because they're winning
Hate
goal
it with
beats
a
Liverpool.
passion.
Yeah, they're winning goal beats Liverpool. It's like bastards.
Yeah, but yeah, look, that's pretty much all that's going on at the minute. But I think the names that are out there now, if there is movement, it's those names. I was saying it to Chris earlier on with the stuff like to do with Kvaratskhelia. It's like PSG have done the donkey work on that for a long time.
Yeah,
and these deals are pretty well flagged. You expect the ones to move now. Their names have been in the media a week. However much buying clubs want to keep things under wraps, selling clubs have absolutely no interest in keeping anything under wraps. They want to engineer an auction for whatever player they're trying to sell. So good luck getting a selling club to keep their mouth shut. They won't.
The only one that potentially might have something to keep an eye on it is us being linked with the lad from Bournemouth, Semedo, only because it's
Semenyo,
yeah, there was
it
something
came,
about
because it came from Middlesbrough, because they've got Doak on loan, and they're like, we might not be able to keep Doak now because he might be going to Bournemouth in a deal, which is like, that's a very obscure way of getting that story out. So, but again, it's like Smith. I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's not what we need.
I don't know if it's.
We need a midfielder.
Can he play DM? I don't think he can.
I don't know.
Anton Semenyo, I'm telling you, is good enough to play for Liverpool.
I think
I just
so
think it's
too.
what we need. No, it's more of a do we need?
No, he's more of a want, not a need.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Everyone wants a forward, but he's not a
It
need.
seems
We
like
don't
that's
need
what
a forward.
Hughes is doing, though. He's focusing on all the areas that we are stockpiled in, and
That's-
not the areas we really need.
We haven't a clue what he's focused on.
I know,
We don't
I
know because
I'm just
he's. I know, but I when this window closes, I think he should sit down with a journalist and do a one-to-one interview. And
we all thought that was what was going to happen after that first interview.
it's after he'd done his first press conference, we haven't seen hiding or hair from him at all about anything. I think he's definitely going to have to come out at some point and explain what his vision is for Liverpool going forward. I think that's only fair.
I think Anthony's also right. I think it's going to be one of the quietest windows, I think, across the board. I think in general, there was a lot of deals getting
There's
done.
not a lot getting done.
I don't know. I think
I know by now you hear
City's
moving.
busy. City looks busy to me.
Yeah, but they've sold well over the last few summers, so they have money in the back. But look at the age of their squad, and the fact that they're going to get Kyle Walker out the door as well. That squad needs reinventing in a big way, irrespective of any decisions that come down the way. They're going to have to spend money, and it's not like they don't have money. You don't win however many Premier Leagues they've won over the last few years and not have the ability to spend.
I think they're one of the few teams that are actually like
they're more active than anyone.
Well, they're more active, but in terms of where they are, like with the ability to spend, they're in the best position out of all the teams, I think, in the league in terms of the sales that they've done recently.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying about the legality of how they got there. I'm just saying that's
they have spent well. They've spent from their academy really. They've sold from their academy really well, and all that is pure profit on the books. So they know they're losing the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. They now know that they're going to be losing the likes of Kyle Walker. They also probably look like Ederson could be on the way.
Big wage on the books as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Ruben Diaz exit stage left as well at the end of the season.
And possibly Silver as well.
A lot of people jumping off a ship all at once. Just saying.
I just think it's a natural turnover for City. They do it a lot. You know, when players get to a certain age, they used to be really ruthless about turning players over. You know, with the likes of Fernandinho and Yaya Toure. You know, they used to be a lot more ruthless than what they have been in the last few years. I think there's a strong argument that they kept too many players on too long.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne has been.
I'm sure we'll probably go into it in depth in a show coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of trophies in their cabinet to back up the argument for keeping those players. But now that we've covered off sports, we're going to go over to Ashley for the weather in a second. But first, some international celebrity news. And this is my favorite story of the day. Thank you, Emmett, for bringing it up. Lazio have sacked their falconer for sharing explicit photos of his prosthetic penis. They also fired their club doctor for performing that surgery on the falconer. It's the craziest fucking story I've ever heard of. And I'm presuming the Falcon has some part to play in the story. Perhaps that's why the guy needed his dick replaced.
He released the photos.
Do you know what? My thoughts and prayers are with the guy who does the job at Crystal Palace at the minute. I just hope to God he's well insured.
It's honestly, that's one of the...
There was comments on him going to it for a comment. How does this make you feel as a falconer? Does this, bring shame in your bring shame in our profession? This,
I will ask to have his membership card revoked at the next meeting of the International Club Falconer, mascot meeting that goes on. But that's absolutely mental. Things continue on. I mean, we've gone on longer than the hour. I thought I was going to hit that post so nicely, and you guys just chattered and chattered. So since we're here anyways, Ashley, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to give you one game in the order that I see them coming up on my screen. Tell me what your result's going to be. Newcastle Wolves tomorrow.
Newcastle win 3-1.
Kev, Leicester City hosting Crystal Palace.
2-2.
Chris, Everton hosting Villa.
3-0 Villa.
Ooh. And then we'll go around the horn for the North London derby. Ashley.
Score draw.
Kev.
Arsenal 3-2.
Chris.
Score draw, both managers sent off, and so's Declan Rice.
That'll be exciting.
There's a lot of prop bets on that one right there.
I think there's goals. There's goals in that game, no matter what.
There's reds in that game. There's so many reds in that game.
Yeah. Big time.
I'm going to say 3-1 to the Spurs, and it's going to be an as you were kind of weekend from everybody. But things will be as you were on the channel. Gav will be back with some more shows, presumably in the build-up to the weekend game against Brentford. Maybe some more extra 30 shows thrown in there as well. There might be another Room 101 coming this week. I believe it was popular enough to justify more.
There's a Shawnee Room 101 coming up.
That's
right.
If
you haven't gotten a membership yet, that is a reason enough to get a membership.
Oh, by the way, if you saw the show Friday, I've started watching that Jerry Springer thing. Oh, my word.
Like I said,
my word. About halfway the first episode. Wow. That is some documentary to watch that.
You guys didn't grow up with this? Because I mean, actually,
we grew up with this. This was what
we did grow up with it, but in the UK it was watered down because
it was censored to death.
There was no parental controls at all in my house. So I mean, weekend and it's interesting.
The guy married a horse. Hilarious.
I mean, that's one of many crazy stories.
And you wonder how they elected Trump.
Yeah, it does explain a lot.
It doesn't do anything for the American image. I'll give you that.
Nope. Bear in mind, he was a mayor.
Yeah. Ashley, how are you doing with Trump America? How's the drinking going with it?
I think kind of like the previous baiting exercise, I'm going to swerve this one.
She's too smart for us.
Musk is watching.
She's too smart for us, and she's armed, Chris. We need to know better by now. I know
she's armed. She can't get me from here.
You never know.
Coming over in May.
I mean, yeah, I might have to hide in May when she batters me, but you know.
All right, that's more than enough for us. We're
Come on,
descending into
let's
Sunday
go.
night silliness here. But yes, there will be silliness commencing when Shawnee gets a chance at doing Room 101. So tune in for that if you're a member. If you're not a member, consider becoming one. Thank you very much for joining us. Sarah C., by the way, who joined up as a member tonight. As we told you in the chat, email Gav, talkinkop1@gmail.com if you join Telegram and want to get involved in the chat in there. We just ticked over to 60 members, and the chat is always going strong, and it is well worth the membership price on its own. But 1-1 at the City Ground. Notts Forest holds Liverpool. The top two teams in the league play out to a score draw. Thank you very much, Ashley. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kev, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. See you after the next game. Bye-bye.